Final supplementary, the member from Renfrew, Nipissing, Pembroke.
You know, when the Liberals are in a mess, they dodge, deflect and deny. That's their modus operandi, but they failed to answer the question and failed to be accountable to the people of Ontario. Back to the Premier. On December 17th, 2013, the Minister of Energy's office wrote to Hydro One CEO asking about the absurdly high number of complaints about Hydro One service. The CEO responded that everything was good.
Member from Barrie.
The level of complaints was nothing to be concerned about. He told the Minister of Energy's office that despite senior officials at Hydro One referring to the organization as being in crisis mode over the level of complaints. Premier, has the CEO of Hydro One been held accountable for lying to the Minister's office?
No. Energy.
Minister of Energy.
Mr. Speaker, we know that Hydro One has been working hard to resolve outstanding issues, Mr. Speaker, and Hydro One has outlined that work in detail. However, further work and remediation is still clearly required, Mr. Speaker, and that's why I've asked the chair of Hydro One, David Dennison, to report back to me within 40 days with the detailed action describing how Hydro One can further address the recommendation in the Ombudsman's report, Mr. Speaker. But what we need to say is that this government has provided more additional oversight than any other government in the history of this province. Mr. Speaker, we created the position of Financial Accountability Officer, made the French Language Services Commissioner independent, put into place the Provincial Advocate for Children and Youth, allocated new powers to the Provincial Advocate for Children and Youth, Mr. Speaker.
Sir.
Expanded the Ombudsman's role, Mr. Speaker. Expanded the Ombudsman's role to include oversight of municipalities, school boards, and publicly funded universities. We will take no lessons from those people.
New question. The member from Renfrew, Nipissing, Pembroke.
I'm still here. To the Premier. The Ombudsman report said that they learned from internal emails that Hydro One deliberately sanitized the script it used at that meeting with the Ombudsman. A Hydro One official wrote in an email, "If we simply state that we are essentially in line with expected customer reaction, that's a healthy story." That official was deliberately misleading an independent officer of the legislature, and they tried to hide the truth. Premier, has the Hydro One official been fired for misleading and obstructing the Ombudsman?
Oh, yes. Minister of Energy.
Mr. Speaker, we know that the Ombudsman did a very comprehensive and thorough study of this particular issue, Mr. Speaker. We have accepted his report, Mr. Speaker, we've also we're proceeding on the basis of having asked the current chair, David Dennison of Hydro One, to follow up on the Ombudsman's report, to report back publicly, Mr. Speaker, within 40 days, looking into all of the recommendations, as well as any other relevant matters around the billing issue, Mr. Speaker. We will have a thorough report from the current chair. We will assess the situation at that particular time, Mr. Speaker. There were 3 senior officers, Mr. Speaker, of the corporation who were associated with the IT system, who are now no longer with the corporation. They left the corporation, Mr. Speaker, around the time that the extent of the billing errors came to light, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Again to the Premier. The Ombudsman's office called Hydro One to ask about a billing issue. When that conversation ended, the employee emailed their manager. The manager replied, and I quote, "If you get the feeling that they're going to investigate more aggressively or escalate, let us know, and good warning in case they come knocking. Please keep holding the line with messages like you conveyed." It is obvious that the manager knew something wasn't right and instructed their staff to, at the very least, bend the truth or perhaps outright lie. Premier, has that manager been fired for instructing their staff to mislead the Ombudsman?
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I just repeat what I said.
Finish, please.
Mr. Speaker, I'll just repeat what I said in the main question, Mr. Speaker. But It's very clear that Hydro One has been working to address the outstanding issues, Mr. Speaker, but we're going further than that. We want to make it perfectly clear that we're going to be receiving a report from the new chair of Hydro One, Mr. Speaker, and the newly appointed chair of Hydro One, David Dennison, is overseeing a process to select a CEO moving forward, Mr. Speaker. The chair and the Minister of Energy are in the process of restructuring the board of directors, Mr. Speaker. It's going to be a better company, it's going to be a more efficient company, Mr. Speaker, and it will be a very accountable company.
Thank you.